Hello, and welcome to my channel, my podcast, my video. This is your host, Beverly Fells Jones, the Silver Fox of Consciousness. I am an author, speaker, and seminar leaker. And on this show, I talk about how to expand your world of thought, exploring the world of positive thinking, law of attraction, and consciousness from many points of view. I intend to share with you information that will enlighten and empower you in your life. I am here to encourage you to think of the positive and show that miracles can happen. I truly believe you have been given the power of the word and thought to create the life you desire. So welcome to the show. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow me on multiple platforms. Today, continuing with Florence Scovel Shinn, The Secret Door to Success, a series of addresses given by Mrs. Shinn. I'm talking the way of abundance. Then shalt thou lay up gold as dust. Job 22:24. The way of abundance is a one-way street. As the old saying is, there are no two ways about it. You are either heading for lack or heading for abundance. The man with a rich consciousness and the man with a poor consciousness are not walking on the same mental street. There is a lavish supply, divinely planned for each individual. The rich man is tapping it, for rich thoughts produce rich surroundings. Change your thoughts, and in the twinkling of an eye, all your conditions change. Your world is a world of crystallized ideas, crystallized words. Sooner or later, you reap the fruits of your words and thoughts. Words are bodies or forces which move spirally and return in due season to cross the lives of their creators. People who are always talking lack and limitation reap lack and limitation. You cannot enter the kingdom of abundance bemoaning your lot. I know a woman who had always been limited in her ideas of prosperity. She was continually making her old clothes do instead of buying new clothes. She was very careful of what money she had and was always advising her husband not to spend too much. She said repeatedly, "I don't want anything I can't afford." She couldn't afford much, so she didn't have much. Suddenly, her whole world cracked up. Her husband left her, weary of her nagging him and limiting thoughts. She was in despair when one day she came across a book on metaphysics. It explained the power of thought and words. So I'm going to stop here for a second. And this is the whole thing about my channel. I want to expand your world of thought, and I want you to explore the world of positive thinking, because you have the power of your word and thought to create the life you desire. This is my whole thing. So let's go on to what Florence is telling us in this story. She realized, this is the lady who was always making do. She realized that she had invited very unhappy experience by wrong thinking. She laughed heartily at her mistakes and decided to profit from them. She determined to prove the law of abundance. Now, let me stop here. Some people want to prove that it's not true. Some people want to say that it's false. Some people say, "Oh, I don't believe in that." I was one of those people once. I said the law of attraction is just some nonsense. I've changed my belief level. But she started out to determine to prove the law of abundance. She used what money she had fearlessly to show her faith in invisible supply. She relied upon God, infinite wisdom, as the source of her prosperity. She no longer voiced lack and limitation. She kept herself feeling and looking prosperous. Her old friend scarcely recognized her. She had swung into the way of abundance. More money came to her than she had ever had before. Unheard of doors opened. Amazing channels were freed. She became very successful in a work she had no training for. She found herself on miracle ground. What had happened? She had changed the quality of her words and thoughts. She had taken God into her confidence and into all her affairs. She had many 11th hour demonstrations, but her supply always came, for she dug her ditches and gave thanks without wavering. Now, I want to thank the person who had this book before me, because the person that had this made so many notes that I didn't have to go do the research. So here's one of her notes. All right. She dug her ditches and gave thanks without wavering. And this came from 2 Kings 3:16. I'm going to pause right now and I'm going to go find 2 Kings 3:16. Okay, I'm back and I found what I wanted to show you. So it's 2 Kings 3:16. And he said, "Thus saith the Lord, make this valley full of ditches. For thus saith the Lord, you shall not see wind, nor shall you see rain, yet that valley shall be filled with water, so that you, your cattle, and your animals may drink. And this simple matter in the sight of the Lord, he will also deliver Moabites into your hand." Now I'm going to skip down to 20. Now it happened in the morning, when the grain offering was offered, that suddenly water came by way of Eden, and the land was filled with water. So what she's showing here is she's saying, right, that her supply always came, for she dug her ditches and gave thanks without wavering. So in that 2 Kings, it said, dig these ditches. Even though you're in the middle of the desert, you're not seeing any water, they believed in what infinite intelligence was telling them. So let me continue with the story now. Someone called me up recently and said, "I am looking desperately for a position." I replied, "Don't look desperately for it. Look for it with praise and thanksgiving. For Jesus Christ, the greatest of metaphysicians, said to pray with praise and thanksgiving. Praise and thanksgiving open the gates, for expectancy always wins." Of course, the law is impersonal, and a dishonest person with rich thoughts will attract riches. But a thing ill got has ever bad success, as Shakespeare says. It will be of short duration and will not bring happiness. We have only to read the papers to see that the way of the transgressor is hard. This is the reason it is so necessary to make your demands a right on the universal supply, and ask for what is yours by divine right and under grace in a perfect way. Some people attract prosperity but cannot hold it. Sometimes their heads are turned, sometimes they lose it through fear and worry. A friend in one of my question and answer classes told this story. Some people in his hometown who had always been poor suddenly struck oil in their backyard. It brought great riches. The father joined the country club and went in for golf. He was no longer young, and the exercise was too much for him, and he dropped dead on the links. This filled the whole family with fear. They all decide they might have heart trouble, so they are now in bed with trained nurses watching every heartbeat. In the race thought, people must worry about something. They no longer worried about money, so they shifted their worries to health. The old idea was that you can't have everything. If you got one thing, you'll lose another. People were always saying, your luck won't last. It's too good to be true. Jesus said, in the world thought, there is tribulation. But be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. In parentheses, she said thought. In the superconscious, or the Christ within, there is a lavish supply of every demand, and your good is perfect and permanent. If thou return to the Almighty, thou shalt build up in consciousness, thou shalt put away iniquity far from thy tabernacles. Then thou shalt lay up gold as dust, the gold of Ephir as the stones of the brooks. Yea, the Almighty shall be thy defense, and thou shalt have plenty of silver. What a picture of opulence, the result of returning to the Almighty in consciousness. With the average person who has thought in terms of lack for a long time, it is very difficult to build up rich consciousness. I have a student who has attracted great success by making the statement, I am the daughter of the King. My rich father now pours out his abundance upon me. I am the daughter of the King. Everything makes way for me. Many people put up limited conditions because they're too lazy mentally to think themselves out of it. You must have a great desire for financial freedom. You must feel yourself rich. You must see yourself rich. You must continually prepare for riches. Become as a little child and make believe you are rich. You are then impressing the subconscious with expectancy. The imagination is man's workshop, the scissors of the mind, where he is constantly cutting out the events of his life. The superconscious is the realm of inspiration, revelation, illumination, and intuition. Intuition is usually known as a hunch. I do not apologize for the word hunch anymore. It is now in Webster's latest dictionary. I had a hunch to look up hunch, and there it was. The superconscious is the realm of perfect ideas. The great genius captures his thought from the superconscious. Without the vision, imagination, my people perish. When people have lost the power to image their good, they perish or go under. It is interesting to compare the translation of the French and English Bibles. In the 21st verse of the 22nd chapter of Job, we read, Acquaint now thyself with him, and be at peace. Thereby good shall come unto thee. In the French Bible, we read, Attach yourself to God, and you will have peace. Thou shalt thus enjoy happiness. The 23rd verse, If thou return to the Almighty, thou shalt be built up. Thou shalt put away iniquity far from thy tabernacles. In the French translation we read, Thou shalt be reestablished if thou returnest to the Almighty, putting iniquity far off from your dwellings. In the 24th verse we read a new and amazing translation. The English Bible reads, Then shalt thou lay up gold as dust, and the gold of Ophir as the stones of the brooks. The French Bible says, Throw gold into the dust, the gold of Ophir amongst the pebbles of the torrents, and the Almighty shall be thy gold, thy silver, thy riches. This means, If people are depending entirely on their visible supply, it is even better to throw it away and trust absolutely to the Almighty for gold, silver, and riches. I give an example in a story told me by a friend. A priest went to visit a nunnery in France, where they feed many children. One of the nuns in despair told the priest they had no food. The children must go hungry. She said that they had but one piece of silver, about the value of $0.25. They needed food and clothing. The priest said, "Give me the coin." She handed it to him and he threw it out the window. "Now," he said, "rely entirely upon God." Within a short time, friends arrived with plenty of food and gifts of money. This does not mean, I'm glad she said this, this does not mean to throw away what money you have. You don't depend on it. Depend upon your invisible supply, the bank of the imagination. Let us now attach ourselves to God and have peace, for He shall be our gold, our silver, and our riches. The inspiration of the Almighty shall be my defense, and I shall have plenty of silver. This is Beverly Fells Jones, the Silver Fox of Consciousness, and thank you for being with me. And be sure to like and subscribe and follow on with the rest of the addresses with Florence Scovel Shinn. If this is the first one, there is a playlist with all of my videos on Florence Scovel Shinn. Thank you for joining me today, and as you have believed, let it be done to you, and it is so.